Since 1970, many cases have challenged the assertions behind the close of Blue Book. But a 1986 sighting near Anchorage, Alaska would produce standout evidence that demands to be taken seriously.
Yeah, that's 1-2 again. On some other equipment over here, we have confirmed there is a flight size of 2 around your 1550 squawk.
Where is he following him?
It looks like he is, yes.
In this case, a captain with 30 years of flight experience puts his reputation on the line by reporting an enormous craft that follows him for nearly an hour. An encounter that would yield the longest recorded data of a UFO to date. Hard evidence that would be brought all the way to the White House.
They were all excited about it. So I said, what do you think it is? He says, well, it's a UFO.
My name is Richard Haynes, and I have been a research scientist for NASA since 1967. My interest in unidentified aerial phenomena goes back 30 years at least. When I was a skeptic, I was just quite convinced that I could explain the phenomenon. But I had an opportunity to talk with commercial pilots who would come in to fly our simulators. And once in a while, a pilot would tell me this remarkable story that it had happened to him. And over the years, I began to realize that I was wrong, that I could not explain phenomena. So in the 1970s, I began collecting face-to-face pilot interviews, sometimes in the cockpit of the airplane. Sometimes we would refly an actual encounter. And so far, I have collected over 3,000 sightings from virtually every country of the world, and quite a number of them were very serious. These would qualify as near miss by FAA standards. And so, looking at air safety as our concern, we formed NARCAP, the National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomena. NARCAP is a reporting center for pilots and air traffic controllers who would like to make a report of their sightings in a completely confidential manner. This is very important because a lot of pilots are afraid for their careers. They believe that they will be ridiculed, and the implication is that if you see something in flight, you're not competent to fly the airplane, which is absurd. We've got to turn that situation around.
Yeah, that's 1-2 again. On some other equipment over here, we have confirmed there is a flight size of 2 around your 1550 squawk.
Where is he following him?
It looks like he is, yes.
In 1986, NARCAP learns of a sighting near Anchorage, Alaska, that would become one of the best-known pilot cases on record. A key investigator on this case is former FAA Division Chief John Callahan.
I was the division manager for the Accidents, Investigations, and Evaluation Division, FAA headquarters. The rule was if anything came up that was newsworthy or was an accident, we had to know before the smoke cleared. Sometime in January of '87, I received a call from the Alaskan region. Apparently a UFO had chased this Japanese 747 across the skies for like 31 minutes. Somehow the media found out about it, and now they want more information. They didn't know what to tell them. I said, tell them it's under investigation. I told them to package up all the data, the voice tapes, the computer tapes, the military tapes, and send them overnight delivery on the red-eye flight to the FAA Tech Center in Atlantic City.
Callahan assembles a team of FAA analysts who synchronize the radar with the pilot's radio transmission. The result is recorded on this video by Chief Callahan and becomes an essential clue in unraveling the case.
There we go.
Anchorage Center, they're turning off 1628. We inside 2 traffic, in front of us, 1 mile about.
Captain Kenju Teruchi, a senior captain for Japan Airlines, flying a 747 cargo flight from Paris to Tokyo. He saw a military test of some advanced nature.
When he looked at his airborne radar, he saw a large target 7, 8, 9, 10 miles in front of him. And the first thing he did is he called the FAA and wanted to know if they had any traffic up there for him.
Japan Air 1628, sir, if you're able to identify the type of aircraft, and see if you can tell whether it's military or civilian. Spanish 1628, we cannot identify the type, but we can see navigation right and turnover right.
Viewing this one-of-a-kind radar evidence, Callahan's team is able to confirm the unidentified target near Tarucci's plane. But it is this never-before-heard interview, conducted by Dr. Haynes with the Japanese pilot, that illustrates the extraordinary details of the craft.
What he told me was remarkable. It was a huge object, something far bigger than his own airplane.
Big walnut shape, as large as 3 or 4 aircraft carriers, had lights coming from it, and small craft coming and going from the bigger craft.
How long did it take to move from the 12 o'clock position?
Captain Tarucci made no excuse for being afraid. He said he was fearful. The captain and his first officer were expecting a collision and were bracing themselves. That's how serious this was.
The Anchorage controller clearly takes the sighting seriously because his next step is to confirm the unidentified target with nearby Elmendorf Air Force Base.
Okay, it looks like I am getting some search primary return. I don't know if it's erroneous or whatever, but...
It's not erroneous. I want you to keep a good track on there, and if you can pick up a code. If verify that you do not have any aircraft operating in that area, no.
That is firm. We do not have anybody up there right now.
The military guy sees those targets. The controller working the radar sees these targets. According to the pilot, there's a great big ship out here, and that stays with them for a while.
Japan 1628 Heavy, sir, I'm going to request you to make a right 360-degree turn and advise me what your traffic does then. Flight 360.
As Captain Tarucci was approaching Fairbanks, he received permission to carry out a 360-degree turn. He wanted to try to get away from that object that was on his left-hand side. His supposition was that the object would continue in a straight flight, and he would bank to the right and leave it behind.
Yeah, that's 1-2 again. On some other equipment over here, we have confirmed there is a flight size of 2 around your 1550 squawk.
Where is he following him?
It looks like he is, yes.
As Tarucci continued the 360-degree turn, the object traveled around the circle with him, which is very interesting because it has to be going faster than that airplane to keep up. So the phenomenon had to be under good control, perhaps intelligent control, to maintain precise station with that airplane.
The pilot sees it, his co-pilot sees it. The military base and the Anchorage controller track it on radar. And a United Airlines passenger jet flying nearby also reports unknown traffic in the area. In all, the Alaska sighting shares many characteristics with the most credible UFO cases, including Rendlesham, Phoenix, and Chicago. It is a massive disc-shaped object that moves as if under intelligent control and is capable of accelerating instantly to unknown speeds. And most remarkably, the encounter lasts nearly 55 minutes over a span of 350 miles, providing the FAA with significant amounts of data.
I had the analysts put together a chart that would explain every hit around the 747. And even a blind man could see there was a target there. But I'm thinking it's the stealth bomber, figuring who believes in UFOs.
When Callahan returns to Washington, a meeting is arranged with the White House scientific team to review the materials.
There was 3 scientists from Reagan's staff. There was 3 guys that said they were with the CIA. And I played the tape 3 times for them. When the video got done, they were all excited about it. They're drooling. They can't wait to get their hands on all this data. This is the first time they ever had more than a few minutes of radar data to go through. And then the CIA guy, he steps forward and he says, this event, pointing to the TV monitor, never happened. We were never here. We're confiscating all this data, and you're all sworn to secrecy. So I said, what do you think it is? I'm still thinking it's the stealth bomber. He says, well, it's a UFO.
2 months after Callahan's meeting, the FAA releases an official explanation for the sighting, which, like the Phoenix and Chicago cases, seeks to explain away the phenomenon.
They said it was a split beacon. It was a ghost target. It was ring around. It never happened. But the Japanese pilots do not see ghost targets. They don't see ring around. They don't see split beacons. We only see a dot or a slash on radar. You have to rely on the pilot telling you what's there.
Captain Tarucci decides to go public with his encounter at great personal risk to his reputation.
Because of his willingness to fill out the forms and be interviewed in great depth, Japan Airlines decided that he should no longer fly. And so Captain Tarucci was asked to fly a desk, as they say.
This case illustrates what's at stake. Until the U.S. government changes its policy on UFO sightings, witnesses are always going to be afraid to come forward with critical and important evidence.
This is how science progresses, is to allow people to openly and honestly describe what they're seeing. We're never going to get to the bottom of this phenomenon until we have an open disclosure.